Steve Harvey broke down after a veteran whispered his final wish. In a world where laughter often drowns out the silent battles fought by our heroes, one heartfelt moment shattered the facade. As the applause faded, the weight of sacrifice hung heavy in the air, revealing a story that would touch every heart in the room. This is not just about a wish. It's about acknowledging the courage and resilience of those who serve. Stay with us, because what happens next will redefine the true meaning of honor. In the heart of a bustling auditorium, the spotlight beams down on Steve Harvey, a man known not just for his humor, but for his genuine heart. Dressed sharply in a tailored suit that reflects his vibrant personality, he stands at the center of a stage adorned with banners celebrating the bravery of veterans. Tonight, he is more than just a host. He is a beacon of hope for those who have fought for their country and returned home, often carrying invisible scars. The audience is a mosaic of faces, young and old, families and friends, all gathered for a shared purpose: to honor our brave veterans. Laughter fills the air as Steve captivates the crowd with his signature charm, weaving in anecdotes and jokes that resonate with everyone in the room. But while the atmosphere is lively, there's a deeper undercurrent that pulses beneath the surface, a collective awareness of the sacrifices made by those who wear the uniform. As the applause echoes around him, Steve's smile fades for just a moment. He glances at the rows of veterans seated among the audience, their faces telling stories of courage, loss, and resilience. Some wear their medals with pride, while others sit silently, the weight of their experiences evident in their eyes. It's a poignant reminder that behind every smile lies a story, and behind every joke, there are wounds that may never fully heal. Steve knows that while the room is filled with joy, it is also a space for reflection. He feels the importance of this moment, not just for the entertainment, but for the lives that have been forever altered by war. As he looks out at the sea of faces, a sense of purpose washes over him. He recognizes that laughter can be a salve, but it can also serve as a mask for deeper emotions that need to be addressed. Then, just as he prepares to introduce a segment dedicated to veterans, a hush falls over the crowd. Murmurs ripple through the audience, a shift in energy that Steve cannot ignore. The laughter fades, replaced by a palpable tension that fills the air like static electricity. It's as if everyone senses that something profound is about to unfold, that this night is destined to be more than just another charity event. Steve takes a deep breath, his heart racing. He can feel the anticipation building, and he knows that the stories of sacrifice and bravery are waiting to be told. But little does Steve know, one veteran's story will change everything. This is not just another evening of entertainment. It's the beginning of a transformative journey that will challenge everything he thought he knew about honor, sacrifice, and what it truly means to serve. As he steps forward, ready to embrace the gravity of the moment, he can't shake the feeling that tonight will leave an indelible mark, not only on the audience, but on him as well. With a determined smile, he prepares to bridge the gap between laughter and reality, ready to honor the heroes who have given so much, and perhaps to learn something invaluable in the process. As the spotlight shifts, we find ourselves deep within the crowd, honing in on one particular individual, John, a veteran whose journey is marked by both valor and hardship. His posture tells a story of its own, a man who has seen too much, with shoulders slightly hunched and eyes reflecting a world of memories that many around him can neither fathom nor comprehend. Clad in a simple button-up shirt and a worn-out cap bearing the insignia of his service, he embodies the silent struggle shared by countless veterans, a living testament to the sacrifices made far from home. John sits quietly among the audience, feeling like a ghost in a vibrant world. The laughter and joy around him seem distant, muffled by the weight of his own thoughts. He remembers the camaraderie of his unit, the bonds forged in the heat of battle, and the sacrifices made that haunt him long after returning home. Each laugh he hears feels like a reminder of the life he used to lead, one filled with purpose, connection, and the exhilaration of shared experiences. Now, he often feels invisible, overshadowed by those who have not walked the same path, and burdened by the stories he carries alone. As Steve continues to engage the crowd, John's heart begins to race. He has come to this event not just to enjoy the entertainment, but with a secret wish tucked away in the corners of his mind. It's a wish he has carried for far too long, one that stems from a deep yearning for acknowledgement and understanding. He wants to be seen, not just as a veteran, but as a man with a story worth telling, a man whose experiences have shaped him in ways that are both painful and profound. The atmosphere in the auditorium shifts again as Steve introduces the segment dedicated to veterans. The audience erupts in applause, a wave of appreciation washing over those who have served. But for John, the clapping sounds like a distant echo. He feels a knot forming in his stomach, a mix of anxiety and hope battling for supremacy. What if no one understands? What if his voice gets lost in the noise? The fear of being dismissed, of his struggles being trivialized, gnaws at him, making the prospect of speaking out seem daunting. As the applause fades, John's thoughts spiral into a whirlwind of doubt. He recalls the battles he fought, not just on the battlefield, but against the demons of PTSD that torment him daily. The memories flood back, the sounds of gunfire, the faces of fallen comrades, and the moments of sheer terror that left indelible marks on his soul. Each recollection feels like a weight pressing down on him, making it harder to breathe, and he wonders if anyone else can truly grasp the depth of his pain. Yet amidst the turmoil, a flicker of courage ignites within him. He watches Steve, a man who stands as a symbol of hope and laughter, and he resolves to take a step forward. This may be his chance to voice his wish, to share his story, and to connect with others who might be feeling the same isolation he has experienced for so long. He thinks of the countless nights spent wrestling with his thoughts, the silent tears shed in the darkness, and the overwhelming sense of loneliness that often follows him. With every heartbeat, John draws closer to the edge of his seat, his palms sweaty and heart racing. Finally, he rises, propelled by a mixture of fear and the desperate need to be heard. As he approaches the stage, the world around him blurs, and all that matters is the moment he's about to embrace. He can feel the weight of the audience's gaze upon him, the collective breath held in anticipation of what he might say. He takes a deep breath, steeling himself, his voice barely a whisper as he reaches out to Steve. "Can I share something?" The words tumble out, laden with emotion, as he reveals his final wish, a plea for acknowledgement and recognition that reverberates through the auditorium. He starts to recount his experiences, sharing stories that reveal the harsh realities of his service, the bonds he formed with his brothers in arms, and the toll it took on his mental health. In that instant, the room falls silent. All eyes turn toward John, and Steve's expression shifts from surprise to deep empathy. Tears well in Steve's eyes as he realizes the magnitude of John's words. This is more than just a wish. It's a testament to the struggles faced by so many veterans, a heartfelt call to honor their sacrifices and the stories that often go untold. John's voice quivers as he speaks, the vulnerability in his tone resonating with the audience, drawing them into his world. As John stands there, vulnerable yet resolute, he feels a sense of liberation wash over him. He may have been invisible for far too long, but tonight he has taken a stand. The applause that follows feels different. It's not just a polite response, but a genuine acknowledgement of his bravery in sharing his truth. And little does he know, this moment will set off a chain reaction that will not only change his life, but will also inspire countless others to find their voices and share their own stories. As John's voice echoes in the auditorium, the weight of his words hangs in the air, weaving a tapestry of shared experiences that resonate with those present. For the first time in a long while, he feels seen, not just as a veteran, but as a human being whose struggles and triumphs are valid and worthy of recognition. The audience, captivated by his honesty, leans forward, their expressions a mix of empathy and understanding. Steve, moved by John's openness, steps closer, creating an intimate space that invites connection. "Thank you for sharing that with us," he says, his voice steady yet filled with emotion. "Your story matters, and it's a reminder that we're not alone in our battles." This moment of affirmation ignites a spark in John, fueling a sense of hope that perhaps there is a way forward, not just for him, but for others who feel the same weight of silence. Around the auditorium, the atmosphere shifts palpably. Other veterans, who have been quietly nursing their own wounds, begin to stir. One by one, they rise, emboldened by John's courage. A woman in her 50s, her eyes glistening with unshed tears, shares her story of loss and resilience, recounting the day she received the news of her husband's deployment and the pain that followed his return. A young man, still in his 20s, speaks about the disconnection he feels from civilian life after serving in combat, his voice trembling as he admits how hard it has been to reintegrate. With each story shared, the atmosphere thickens with a profound sense of camaraderie and understanding. Laughter mixes with tears, and the audience becomes a tapestry of voices, each thread adding depth to the narrative of shared sacrifice. It's a powerful moment of collective healing, where vulnerability becomes strength, and stories transform into bridges connecting one another. As the evening progresses, Steve facilitates the dialogue, encouraging those who wish to speak. He listens intently, offering words of comfort and affirmation, reminding everyone that their experiences are not isolated incidents, but shared journeys that bind them together. He shares his own reflections on the importance of mental health, emphasizing that seeking help is not a sign of weakness, but a testament to one's strength and resilience. John, still standing near the front, feels a swell of emotions as he witnesses this transformation. What began as a simple wish to be heard has evolved into a movement of connection and solidarity. He watches as the audience members, some strangers mere moments ago, embrace one another, exchanging phone numbers, promising to check in, and expressing a commitment to support each other beyond this evening. In that moment, John realizes that his story was not just about him. It was a catalyst for change, a call to action that ignited a fire in the hearts of others. He feels an overwhelming sense of gratitude for this opportunity, for the chance to break the silence that too often isolates veterans. As he steps back from the stage, he is enveloped in a warm embrace from a fellow veteran, the unspoken bond of shared struggle palpable in the air. As the night draws to a close, the applause grows into a thunderous roar, a collective acknowledgement of the power of storytelling and the importance of community. Steve stands at the center, his heart swelling with pride for all those who found their voices. "Tonight is just the beginning," he declares, his words resonating through the auditorium. Let's continue to share our stories, to lift each other up, and to ensure that no one feels alone in their journey. Outside, the air is cool and crisp, a stark contrast to the warmth of the auditorium. John steps into the night, feeling lighter than he has in years. The weight of his past is still present, but it no longer feels like a burden. Instead, it is a part of his identity that he can carry with pride. He glances back at the building, illuminated against the night sky, and feels a sense of hope blossoming within him. The ripple of change has begun, and John knows that he is not just a part of a larger community. He is a catalyst for healing. He walks away from the auditorium, a newfound sense of purpose guiding his steps, ready to embrace whatever comes next. In the days that follow the event, John finds himself navigating a whirlwind of emotions. The warmth and camaraderie he experienced in the auditorium linger in his heart, a stark contrast to the isolation he had felt for so long. Each morning, he wakes up with a renewed sense of purpose, eager to explore this new chapter of his life. The connections he formed during that transformative evening have created a network of support that he never thought possible. As he sits at his kitchen table one morning, a steaming cup of coffee in hand, he reflects on the stories shared that night. Each tale of bravery and struggle resonates within him, a reminder that he is not alone in his journey. Inspired by the courage of his fellow veterans, John decides to take a proactive step toward healing, seeking out a local group that focuses on mental health support for veterans. He knows that sharing his story was just the beginning. Now he must confront the shadows of his past head-on. The first meeting of the support group takes place in a cozy community center, decorated with motivational posters and soft lighting. As he enters, he's greeted by familiar faces from the auditorium, their smiles warm and welcoming. The facilitator, a compassionate woman named Lisa, encourages everyone to share their experiences in a safe and nurturing environment. John feels a mix of excitement and apprehension. This is another opportunity to voice his feelings, but the vulnerability required is daunting. As the circle forms, stories begin to flow. A veteran named Marcus shares his battle with depression after returning home, while another, an older woman named Ruth, recounts the challenges of adjusting to civilian life after decades of service. Each narrative is met with nods of understanding and supportive affirmations. John listens intently, realizing that their struggles echo his own. The shared experiences create a tapestry of resilience, binding them together in their fight for healing. When it's finally his turn to speak, John takes a deep breath. He reflects on the night of the event, the strength he felt in sharing his story, and how it opened the door to new connections. I realized, he begins, his voice steady but filled with emotion, that I've been carrying this burden alone for too long. I want to change that, for myself and for others. As he recounts his experiences, he feels the weight of his past lifting, replaced by a sense of empowerment. The room is filled with the sound of gentle encouragement, and for the first time in years, he feels truly seen. As weeks turn into months, John becomes a regular attendee at the support group. Each session reinforces the idea that vulnerability is not a weakness, but a profound strength. He begins to forge deeper bonds with his fellow veterans, sharing laughter and tears as they navigate their healing journeys together. They organize outings, from hiking trips to community service projects, finding solace in the company of those who understand their struggles. One chilly Saturday morning, the group decides to volunteer at a local shelter for homeless veterans. John arrives early, filled with anticipation and a sense of purpose. As they serve meals and share stories with those in need, he feels a profound connection to the community. It's a reminder of the sacrifices made and the importance of giving back. The gratitude expressed by the shelter's residents touches him deeply, reinforcing his commitment to helping others. During one particularly impactful conversation, a young veteran named Alex shares his story of despair and hopelessness, revealing the dark thoughts that have plagued him since returning. His honesty strikes a chord with John, who recognizes the familiar shadows lurking in Alex's words. "You're not alone," John reassures him, placing a comforting hand on his shoulder. "I've been there, and I want you to know that there is light ahead. It may be hard to see now, but it's there." His words resonate powerfully, and he sees a flicker of hope ignite in Alex's eyes. As the season shifts from winter to spring, John feels a transformation within himself. The weight of his past is still present, but he has learned to carry it with grace. He has developed coping strategies, mindfulness, meditation, and the simple act of reaching out to friends when the shadows creep in. The community he has built with his fellow veterans has become a lifeline, a reminder that healing is not a solitary journey. One evening, as he reflects on his progress, John decides to write a letter to the audience from the first event, expressing his gratitude for their support and the impact their stories had on his healing journey. He pours his heart into the letter, thanking them for their courage and for inspiring him to seek help. With each word, he feels a sense of closure, a step toward moving forward. As he seals the envelope, he knows that healing is not linear, but a winding path filled with ups and downs. He is grateful for every moment, for the laughter shared, the tears shed, and the connections forged along the way. John understands now that he is part of something larger than himself, a community of warriors who lift each other up, reminding one another that they are never truly alone. As spring fully blooms, John finds himself at a crossroads. The warmth of the sun and the blossoming flowers mirror the new life he has embraced since joining the support group. Yet, with the beauty of renewal, comes the reality of ongoing challenges. While he has made significant strides in his healing journey, the shadows of his past occasionally creep back, reminding him that the path to recovery is not always straightforward. One evening, during a support group meeting, Lisa introduces a new topic: coping with triggers. The room buzzes with anticipation and apprehension. John feels a knot tighten in his stomach. He knows all too well how certain sights, sounds, and smells can transport him back to moments he would rather forget. As Lisa guides the discussion, he listens as others share their experiences with triggers, the unexpected flashbacks, the anxiety that grips them in crowded places, and the sleepless nights filled with haunting memories. When it's his turn to speak, John finds himself hesitating. He thinks back to a recent trip to the grocery store, where the sound of a cart colliding with a display sent him spiraling into a moment of panic. "I was just trying to pick up some milk," he begins, his voice steady but tinged with vulnerability. "And then I heard that noise, and suddenly I was back in a place I never wanted to revisit. It's like my mind took over, and I felt so helpless." He looks around the room, meeting the understanding eyes of his fellow veterans. They nod in recognition, their shared experiences creating a comforting bond. The conversation deepens as others share their coping mechanisms, breathing exercises, grounding techniques, and the importance of having a support system. John takes mental notes, feeling grateful for the wisdom in the room. He realizes that while the journey may be fraught with challenges, he is not alone in facing them. The collective strength of the group fuels his determination to continue working through his struggles. After the meeting, John and a few other veterans decide to grab coffee together. As they sit in the cozy cafe, the conversation flows easily, filled with laughter and camaraderie. They share stories of their experiences, both in service and in their attempts to reintegrate into civilian life. One of the veterans, Marcus, expresses his frustration with job hunting, lamenting the stigma some employers have toward veterans. "It feels like they see us as broken," he says, his voice tinged with frustration. "But we're not. We have skills, experience, and a drive to succeed." John nods in agreement. He recalls his own struggles in finding meaningful work since returning home. "It's tough," he agrees, "but we have to keep pushing forward. We need to show them what we can do." The conversation shifts to brainstorming ways to support one another in their job searches, and they commit to sharing leads and resources. As the weeks pass, John realizes that the support group has evolved into more than just a place for sharing struggles. It has become a community of action. They organize weekend workshops focused on resume building and interview skills, inviting guest speakers who can provide insights into the hiring process. John volunteers to help coordinate the events, using his organizational skills honed during his service. The first workshop is a resounding success, drawing a larger crowd than anticipated. John stands at the front of the room, addressing the attendees with a sense of pride and purpose. "We're here to support each other," he says, his voice steady. "We all have unique strengths and experiences. Together, we can break down the barriers that stand in our way." The energy in the room is palpable, a shared determination to rise above the challenges they face. As the workshop concludes, attendees mingle and exchange contact information, forging connections that extend beyond the group. John feels a growing sense of hope as he watches his fellow veterans engage with one another. They are not just sharing their stories. They are actively working to change their narratives, reclaiming their identities and futures. However, as the weeks turn into months, John encounters a new challenge. One evening, while watching the news, he sees a report about a tragic event involving veterans struggling with mental health issues. The weight of the story hits him hard, and he feels a familiar ache in his chest. He picks up his phone, scrolling through social media, where he sees posts from friends still fighting their battles in silence. Anxiety grips him as he reflects on the fragility of the progress he and his peers have made. Feeling the weight of responsibility, John reaches out to his support group. "We need to do more," he urges during their next meeting. "We can't just focus on our own healing. There are so many veterans out there who need help, who don't know where to turn." His words resonate with the group, igniting a sense of urgency. They brainstorm ideas on how to expand their outreach efforts, considering community events, awareness campaigns, and partnerships with local organizations. Together, they launch a campaign called Voices of Valor, aimed at raising awareness about veterans' mental health and the importance of seeking help. They organize a community event, inviting speakers, providing resources, and creating a space where veterans can share their stories. John takes on a leadership role, feeling empowered by the collective passion of the group. As they prepare for the event, John finds himself reflecting on his journey. He remembers the darkness he once felt and how far he has come. The support he has received from his fellow veterans has not only helped him heal, but has also reignited his sense of purpose. He is determined to make a difference, not just for himself, but for those who may still be suffering in silence. On the day of the Voices of Valor event, the atmosphere is electric. The community center is buzzing with energy as veterans and civilians alike gather to support the cause. John stands at the entrance, welcoming attendees with a warm smile, feeling a sense of pride swell within him. This is more than an event. It's a movement, a testament to the power of connection and resilience. As the speakers take the stage, John listens intently, feeling a deep sense of gratitude for the opportunity to be part of something greater than himself. Each story shared reinforces the importance of speaking out, of breaking the silence surrounding mental health. The audience responds with applause, laughter, and tears, creating a tapestry of shared humanity. By the end of the day, John feels a renewed sense of hope. The connections forged during the event will ripple out into the community, spreading awareness and fostering understanding. He knows that the journey ahead will have its challenges, but he is no longer afraid. He has found his voice, and with it, the power to make a difference. The Voices of Valor event was a resounding success, a powerful testament to the strength and resilience of the veteran community. As John walks through the now quiet community center the day after, he feels a deep sense of fulfillment. The walls still echo with the laughter, conversation, and shared stories from the previous day. He can almost feel the energy lingering in the air. In the days that follow, the impact of the event continues to resonate. Local news outlets cover the story, highlighting the importance of mental health awareness among veterans and the initiative led by John and his peers. Social media buzzes with posts from attendees, many expressing gratitude for the support and resources they received. John feels a swell of pride as he reads the messages, realizing that they have created something meaningful together. Inspired by the momentum, John decides to take a more active role in the community. He reaches out to local veterans organizations, seeking partnerships to expand their initiatives. He wants to ensure that the conversation around mental health continues, breaking down the barriers that silence so many. He believes that every story shared can spark a change, and he is determined to help others find their voices. One afternoon, while meeting with Lisa at a local cafe, they brainstorm ideas for future events. We need to create safe spaces where veterans can talk openly about their experiences, John suggests, his passion evident. Workshops, retreats, anything that fosters connection and healing. Lisa nods enthusiastically, adding, "And we can invite mental health professionals to provide resources and support. It's about creating a holistic approach to healing." Excited by their ideas, John begins organizing a series of workshops focusing on different aspects of mental health, from coping strategies to mindfulness practices. They schedule guest speakers, including therapists and life coaches, to provide insights and tools that can aid in the healing process. As he delves deeper into this work, he finds himself growing more confident in his leadership abilities, realizing that he can facilitate change not just for himself, but for others as well. Meanwhile, John's relationships with his fellow veterans deepen. They share not only their struggles, but also their victories, celebrating each other's progress. Marcus, who had previously struggled with job hunting, lands a position at a local nonprofit, and the group throws a small celebration in his honor. The joy in Marcus's eyes as he recounts his journey fills John with hope, reinforcing his belief in the power of community. As spring transitions into summer, John finds himself reflecting on his own journey. He recalls the dark days when he felt lost and alone, unsure of his purpose. Now, he feels a sense of belonging and responsibility, an opportunity to give back and support others in their healing journeys. He begins to write about his experiences, jotting down thoughts and reflections in a journal, contemplating the possibility of sharing his story more widely. One evening, after a particularly inspiring support group meeting, John approaches Steve, who has been a constant source of encouragement. "I've been thinking about writing a blog, or maybe even a book," John admits, his voice filled with excitement. "I want to share my journey and the stories of others to inspire hope and healing." Steve's eyes light up. That's a brilliant idea. Your voice matters, John. You have the power to reach so many people. With Steve's encouragement, John begins to craft his narrative, weaving together his own experiences with those of his fellow veterans. He shares stories of struggle, resilience, and the transformative power of connection. As he writes, he feels a cathartic release, the act of putting pen to paper allowing him to process his journey in a new light. However, as he immerses himself in writing, John also faces moments of doubt. He questions whether his story is worth telling, whether it can truly make a difference. One evening, as he reads through his drafts, he feels overwhelmed, the weight of vulnerability pressing down on him. He reaches out to his support group, seeking reassurance and feedback. During their next meeting, John shares his writing with the group, reading excerpts that capture his journey and the importance of community. As he finishes, he looks around the room, searching for signs of encouragement. To his relief, the response is overwhelmingly positive. "This is powerful, John," Ruth says, her voice filled with emotion. "Your story can help so many people who feel lost and alone." Buoyed by their support, John continues to refine his writing, motivated by the knowledge that his words can create ripples of change. He sets a goal to finish a draft by the end of summer, eager to share his story with a broader audience. He envisions a world where veterans feel empowered to seek help, to share their experiences, and to know they are not alone. As summer unfolds, John and his fellow veterans continue to host workshops and community events, each one fostering deeper connections and encouraging open dialogue about mental health. They collaborate with local schools to educate students about the experiences of veterans, hoping to cultivate understanding and empathy among younger generations. One afternoon, as they prepare for a community outreach event, John reflects on the journey he has taken since that pivotal night in the auditorium. He feels a profound sense of gratitude for his fellow veterans, for the support they have provided, and for the strength they have drawn from one another. He knows that while the journey toward healing is ongoing, they are all walking it together, united in their shared experiences and commitment to growth. As the sun sets on another successful event, John stands outside, watching the laughter and connection unfold around him. He realizes that he has not only found his voice, but has also created a legacy of hope and resilience for those who come after him. He is proud to be a part of a community that embraces vulnerability and strength, and he looks forward to continuing this journey, one story at a time.